Everybody, Resmatter here, and welcome to part 12 of my House in Fata Morgana Let's Play. Last episode was really, it was sad and it was sweet at the same time, so after kind of pouring their hearts out to each other about their past, Giselle and Michel developed a friendship that eventually turned into a romantic relationship, and Giselle literally bearing her scars and, showing everything to Michelle is like an act of trust, which, given her experiences, I imagine was very hard to do because it seems like everyone that she tries to let into her life just betrays her at some point. So things seem as good as they can be given the circumstances, but I mean, it's only a matter of time, right? Before this love story has a tragic end. It's not an end because they've reunited in present times, but based on the fact that like Giselle kind of pulled memories from what actually happened into her storybook retelling of it, I'm gonna guess someone's gonna get sick, or maybe the villagers are gonna come back and try and finish the job and separate them and kill one of them. So we'll see if I'm right on that one. Let's jump back into this and let's see what happens next. Morning. No, afternoon? Master! Ah. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, come on. Put a little more oomph into it. Same Giselle as always. I must say, last night was something, Master. I didn't know you had that in you. Just thinking about it. Well, okay, are we progressing a little bit so they've consummated the relationship? Because before it was them just laying next to each other because she obviously was not feeling like she was ready for that yet. Ow! Hey, that hurt. What was that for? I was struck with an insatiable urge to whack you. Whatever happened to your heartfelt desire to do whatever you can for me? Then again, it could just literally be what happened from last night. From where we left off. I don't think hitting me counts. You're tough enough to get over a little bonk. You were being so nice yesterday. Where did that go? Maybe she just means he didn't have it in... She didn't think he had it in him to be, like, so caring. So, would you like to explain why you're making dirty jokes first thing in the morning? Yeah, just... I was trying to lighten the mood to hide my embarrassment. Okay, we are... I'm assuming this is the day after. Fair enough. Alright, but could you not joke about that in the future? I didn't actually do anything to you. No, you didn't. Sorry. Say, could I ask you something? Yes? You hardly ever use my name. It makes us feel so distant. Could you do something about that, maybe? Babe? This is taking place in middle-aged time. I still can't get over that. Like, they do not speak that way, and that seems so wrong coming out of Michelle. That's my husband and me. We barely use each other's names. I feel like if you're in a relationship long enough, if someone uses your actual, like, if they use your actual name, you're like, oh no, I'm in trouble. Or something serious is happening. No, 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 no. That is not you at all. Just go with my name, please. We graduated from a master-servant relationship to a romantic relationship, but that is a bit much. What, saying her name? Romantic relationship? Exactly, so, in honor of the new us. Let's make this last, alright? Michelle? Alright. At the time, the light that had entered our life seemed unreal and fantastical, but I prayed that it would indeed last. Unfortunately. Plus, we still have to learn what Michel's curse is. Like, what's his whole deal? Giselle's laid it pretty bare what, her backstory is, but Michel's is still a little hazy. In hope of an equally bright future, I allowed myself to rejoice in the moment, letting the unconquered shadows that lurked in my peripheral remain unseen. It's like he knows, like, it's too good to be true. It's not going to last. Blackness consumes the once colorful space. Giselle still stands before me, as she did within the door, but I struggle to reconcile the two scenes. They are both real. They are both her. The lively, spunky girl of the past and the lifeless girl of the present are both Giselle. As different as they seem, they are both her. Why don't we stop there? It was a wonderful story. They overcame their troubles and lived happily ever after. Just the fact she's saying they, it's like she's still what's that word? Decompartmentalizing. She's distancing herself. Like, it's her, but she's saying it as if it's not them. Is that not good enough? It could not be worse than where we are now. All we have to do, then, is erase the now. Throw everything away and start over from where it was better. You were able to bear them because they weren't your tragedies, and that goes for more than just me. Actually, as a matter of fact, those words apply even better to her than me. Are we gonna go back? Let's go back to all of the previous doors. Let's do kind of like a Higurashi thing. Like, let's see it from another point of view. Let's see it from, like, their point of view, rather than it being kind of a distant memory. The ending is already set in stone. It's already happened. What point is there in watching it again? All that accomplishes is making me relive it all. The ending has not been written. We are both here now, which means our end still lies ahead of us. Then, can I ask you to promise not to let go of my hand, no matter what? No matter what happens, you mustn't let go of my hand. Now I understand. That was a request, even if she didn't perceive it as such. In place of a verbal response, I squeeze her hand in mine. I know where this tale is heading, toward tragedy. All the other doors we visited ended in tragedy, and ours is no exception. But perhaps what's waiting at the end of this one is even more dire than I imagine. The door to our past swings open once more, behind which lies the end of me and the beginning of her. Right, that makes sense, of course. Michel's the one who's dead, so he's gonna be the one who dies. And Giselle survives all of this time. I'm gonna guess it's at the hand of either the villagers are gonna come back, or maybe his family's gonna find out that he's, like, still alive, or that he's in the relationship with the maid, and they're like, we gotta get rid of this guy. Like, it's no good. He's gonna be like a blight to the family. Or he could just get sick. It could just be like before it was the white-haired girl who got sick, and then maybe Michel's gonna be the one who gets ill. A month had passed since the night with the rose. Right on schedule, the monthly delivery arrived, but in it was a letter that would dramatically change our lives. Ooh, does the family know something? What's up? Oh, my father, Antonin, had fallen ill and died. I presumed it was the witch's doing, but she was silent, refusing to respond to my questions. If it wasn't her, then he must have died naturally. It seemed more than a little tasteless to celebrate someone's death, but good taste and reality do not always agree. I was extremely relieved to hear the news. He did say he wanted, if he were allowed to go back to the house, he would want her to go with. Obviously, that didn't end up happening. Something happened before that. I would imagine that the mother would also have to die as well, because Giselle would definitely not be allowed back if that were the case. The man had raped Giselle. He had tried to have me killed, and now he was gone from this world. I had been waiting for this moment for years. His passing had another effect as well. My death could be revoked. Oh, many years ago, my brother had told me when he succeeded our father, he would welcome me back to the Bullingerher estate, and I could be part of the family once more. Does the mother know? Or is the mother just, like, so far gone, she's just, like, so, like, out of her mind that it doesn't really matter if he comes back or not? Because they say the brothers were the only one who knew that Michel was still alive. Which meant this letter signaled the end of my banishment. Not sure how to feel about it? Yeah, rejoicing doesn't seem really appropriate. But this means you can return home now, right? In theory, my brother is set to take control of the estate, so he should be accommodating. Maybe the brother's gonna have him killed for some reason, even though he seems like he's been kind of Michel's only ally. I'm going to write a letter, have them send us a carriage. It is much too long a distance to walk. All right. I'm excited. What should we do first when we get back to the capital? Oh, I know. How about you stop by my place? My mom and sister won't believe their eyes. Why do I have a feeling her mother and sister, like, at least one of them is dead, if not both of them, like something horrible has happened to them? Or maybe Giselle will just never get back to the capital to see them. Something's going to happen before then. My time in the mansion was almost at its end. The future I had, only vaguely envisioned, was now within my reach. I'd always spoken of this moment, predicated with eventually, like it was some kind of let's try that again. Unobtainable fantasy. Ooh, really struggling with that word. But now it was practically a reality. I realized I hadn't actually given it much thought. Hey, are you still awake? I am. Not a great night for sleeping, huh? Are you thinking about your family? It all seems so surreal. Yeah, it does. This house is like a desert island, cut off from the world, which makes everything feel kind of like a fairy tale sometimes. Even what we have. From time to time, I get the feeling that nothing is real, that the outside world is just a figment of my imagination, that my entire life only ever existed within these walls. Are you nervous? Maybe I am. I always thought that when this day arrived, it would be more cathartic. I'm sorry, I'm finally able to take you back to the capital, and I can't seem to get past my own negativity. Well, there's also... he had some sort of, like, a relationship that went badly for him. That's why he was, like, hesitant to get close to Giselle. So maybe that person is still living around there and he's gonna have to confront her. It's only natural to be nervous. I am too. I haven't spent nearly as long as you living in this mansion. But I know how you feel, because I feel the same way. Not knowing what the future holds. It's scary. You know, I was thinking I would be okay with staying. I mean, I would love to return to the capital, and I miss my family dearly. But even if I never got to see them again, in no way would I consider myself unhappy. I honestly think I've got a pretty wonderful life. If you're not comfortable going back to that house, and you're just saying you'll endure it for me, Giselle, there are other paths we can take. You could live with your family, or you could remain here in the mansion. Not at all. No, I want to. No matter where I go, you'll be there with me, Michel. It's true. I am nervous not knowing what the future holds. But not in a scared something bad might happen kind of way. It's more of a jittery, excited anxiousness. I'm confident the two of us can overcome anything, no matter what obstacles may come our way. Together, we can create an even more wonderful future. Don't worry, Michel. The future's nothing to be afraid of. You make it sound like I'm paralyzed with fear. Hee hee. But you are, aren't you? Hey now, don't give me that look. Once again, she's the one pushing me forward. I will make sure you have a good, happy life. Thank you. What? Nothing, nothing. I'm feeling kind of sentimental, thinking about how we've only got a little time left here. It wasn't perfect, but it was an important part of my life. Indeed. Say, yes? Well, I think I could handle it right now, probably. Oh, that. It? Oh, use your head, you little... I don't follow. Ugh, how can you be so dense? I mean, you know, touching and so forth. You know, take the next step. I'm saying I'm feeling up for that right now. It's not proper for a woman to bring up that subject, is it? But I did kind of ask you to wait, and I feel bad leading you on for so long. Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, now that he realizes what's going on, he's like, I'm down. You're shaking. Oh, no, okay, never mind. I misinterpreted that. That shuffling made me think that he was basically like, let's go. I'm just really emotional, that's all. You don't need to force yourself if you're not ready. I can wait as long as you need. Besides... Besides? Never mind. It's fine. There's no need to rush things. You don't need to worry. Oh, what's that about? Maybe he doesn't really want to either for some reason. Yeah. I wrote 2 letters, one to my brother, and one to my mother. One so Giselle could return, and one so I could be myself. To demonstrate who I was. I had to prove I was not cursed. For failing to do that would not only bring her grief, it might become the final crack into the identity I had built up for myself. I had to convince her I was neither demon nor angel, but a human man who had fallen in love with a human woman. This is another thing, too, that I seem to have happen a lot in the visual novels, is people who refer to themselves not as human. Who, I'm assuming, are human, but they don't see themselves as such for some reason. However, I was too foolish to realize, here we go, that the future I envisioned was nothing but a fantasy. Had I been able to grasp that, then maybe I could have taken her somewhere far away, where no one knew who we were, where things might have turned out differently. Oh shit, what's going on here? Did they make it to back to his place and then everything went wrong, or did they not even get a chance? It's been really foggy out lately. I'd rather if we left when it was clear. Oh, I have a feeling the villagers are going to come back and kill them, or kill Michel. Maybe they got the stones to be like, we'll deal. Like, they got so desperate, you know? Like, I feel for them too. I don't agree with what the villagers did to Giselle, but I also, like, understand that they are in a really tough situation, and maybe they're like, it's just getting so bad that they're like, okay, there might be a witch there, but we desperately need money, and we know that there's stuff in that mansion, so we're just gonna go for it. I'd rather if we left when it was clear. It would be terrible if the coachman rolled the carriage because he couldn't see where we were going. There wasn't so much fog, I would probably have been able to see little columns of orange evening sunlight fighting their way through the trees, but the milky white mist seemed to swallow up all the light, leaving nothing for the surrounding area. It was rather dreary weather, and maybe the same thing is going to happen, where Michel has, like, Giselle go up into the tower of the mansion while he fends off the villagers, because they're probably going to do something badly to Giselle as well. I wonder when they'll be here. Although, if they never do show up, that's okay too. I was finally able to return to the capital with Michel, to see my family again, and that was wonderful. It was like a dream come true. But it wouldn't disappoint me if that didn't end up happening. I didn't care where I ended up, as long as Michel was there with me. That's all that matters. I should probably close the windows. The coach isn't likely to show up at night, I don't think. Oh yeah, here we go. I reached my hand out to shut a window, which is when I saw something wavering beyond the heavy mist. Light? And it wasn't just one. Looking closer revealed several more flickering spots. They moved up and down, slowly, but rhythmically. As more and more came into view, my mind began seeing them as people carrying torches. They're coming this way? Could they be our escorts back to the capital? Though... What? As soon as the thought, "there's sure a lot," popped in my head, something whizzed past my cheek. What? Huh? What was... Huh? What? It was an arrow. Giselle! What? The arrow had flown through the window and pierced the opposite wall. Had Michel not knocked me out of the way. Giselle, are you okay? I'm fine. But what? What's going on? Never mind that. Right now, we need to run. Huh? Wait, Michel! Now! There's no time to talk. Stay out of sight of the windows. Got it. He grabbed my hand and broke into a run. A relentless storm of arrows showered through the windows we had worked so hard to get open a year ago. This wasn't what we had gone through all that effort for. Once I opened the front door, run. We have to get as far from this house as quickly as we can. What was happening? Why did we have to run? Why were those people firing arrows at us? With the wave of questions came a wave of fear. I couldn't say anything. The sheer terror had frozen my jaw in place. Get ready. I nodded, squeezing his hand tight. I knew it would just be another obstacle to his safe escape, but I didn't want to let go of his hand. I was afraid if I did, I would never be able to hold it again. Oh, that's why she's like, don't let go of my hand in the present time. Yeah. Are you alright? I'm fine. But how? There are people out front too? Damn it. Why? Several arrows were sticking out of the floor before us. Beyond the door, which Michel had managed to shut almost immediately, rang a cacophony of whoosh, thump, whoosh, thump. We can't escape? Why? What's going on? Damn it. With a deep scowl, Michel barred the door, and all the while, the arrows kept flying. The panic in the air kept growing thicker. Either like, the village, if these are the villagers, they just have, like, really good timing. Like, if they had timed it by, or, well, bad for them in this case. I guess it wouldn't matter if they had left. The villagers could just have come in here and just taken all they wanted because there's nobody around. But bad luck for Michel and Giselle. Like, if they just waited one day, they wouldn't, or they left a day earlier, they wouldn't have to deal with this. So that makes me think maybe it's someone who knows Michel, because I'm assuming he sent the letter saying, I'm going to be coming back on this day. So maybe the family sent these, like, people to basically assassinate Michel because they don't want him back. I don't understand. How did they... Only a handful of people even know about this plate. Oh, this is all my fault. It's because I told the villagers about this place. They think a demon lives here, not a human. So they're here to tear down the house. They made weapons, bows, just for this. I don't... Ah! There was a deep rumble, and the ground below us shook. I almost fell to the floor. They're trying to break down the door, it seems. Michel, I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. Because of what I did. No. What? It's not your fault. It's mine. Michel? I challenged her, and because I did, she made my curse real. Who is this witch? Who is Morgana? What are you talking about, Michel? Is Morgana the witch? Is that the person that he was, like, in the relationship with? And did the witch curse him because... I don't know. I don't know. Like, he truly believes he has a curse. This way. Run. He did something to, like, anger this woman. This witch, apparently. There is also... The white-haired girl did show up in that painting that he, like, desecrated. I'm assuming his sister or something. Maybe I'm a little confused right now. Let's just get back to this. Michel dragged me through the mansion's corridors until we reached the chamber with a stained glass window. At the far end of the room sat a small door. Where does it lead? I had been aware of the door's presence, but I'd never gone inside it. It's just like in the story that Giselle told. He's gonna put her into the tower, and he's gonna basically sacrifice himself. Something about it seemed somewhat different than the rest of the house. I wasn't sure how to describe it exactly, but it felt like shadows had taken root here. The observation tower. A tower? But if we go up there, we're putting ourselves in a corner. It doesn't matter where we go, they have us trapped. But there's a chance that up here... He didn't finish that thought, however. He opened the door, leading me to the tower, his face deathly pale. We started running again, around and around the spiral staircase, making our way toward the top. In regular intervals along the wall were rectangular windows. A layer of fog still lay thick across the land. Peering out into it made me feel like we had been thrown into a dream world. if it weren't for the orange spots of torchlight surrounding the mansion. Silhouettes holding the torches. Is that armor? Right, armor. The villagers wouldn't have armor. Shit. Shit. I bet it is people who know, like, Michelle's family, or... Because, yeah, or it's, I'm trying to remember who it was that came in and basically was like, we're gonna tax the little village. But I don't know, the timing of this seems make me think that Michelle's family set this up. They appeared to be knights. Michelle, tell me, why do you think this is your fault? What is your curse? Your curse. It isn't just the color of your hair and eyes, is it? There's more to it, isn't there? There's something else, isn't there? Is he gonna tell her? Is he gonna tell her before he dies? Or, come on, I wanna know. Michelle's gaze was firmly directed forward as he frantically led me up the stairs. We were breathing hard, and the sound of it echoed against the tower's stone walls. Our panicked hearts were beating so hard, I was afraid they might be able to hear it outside. I hope beforehand, come on, Michel. Giselle told you everything. The least you can do is tell her the same. Eventually, we made it to the top. A pile of discarded rope lay unceremoniously at the front of a door, presumably once used to seal it shut. The door itself was deeply weathered and rotting in places. It had obviously been left sitting in disrepair even longer than Michelle had lived here. What is this? Inside. Frigid air nipped at my skin, and it wasn't a pleasant, refreshing kind of cool, but a bitter, oppressive cold. This room felt unlike any other in the mansion. This is an observation tower. You can't even... There once would have been windows allowing you to see in all directions around the mansion, but all that remains now is that tiny opening near the ceiling. If we hide out here, then there's a chance they might not find us. Ah, it sounds like they broke down the door. Don't worry, they won't find us. When they give up their search, then we can get out of here. I'm sure it will all turn out all right. Michelle's voice was quivering, as was his hand in mine. Michelle. We huddled together, feeling each other's warmth in our arms. My free hand clenched his shirt for dear life. I'm sorry. What? I'm to blame for this. It's my fault you're in this mess. The pain you had to experience, you being sent to this place, and what's happening now, can all be traced back to my being born. I'm so sorry. Why was he apologizing? Okay, so it has to do with him being born. What? Why did he insist this was his fault? Why wouldn't he tell me what his curse was? Why were people trying to kill us? And they say it's more than just his skin and his hair color. Right. Those people were trying to kill us. Putting it into words like that made the fear that much more real. The arrows they fired weren't threats. They meant to kill us. Michelle. But with Michelle trembling in my arms, I couldn't bring myself to ask those questions. No! What meaning would those answers even have with death lurking so close behind us? I want to know. It would just be like, maybe not satisfaction is the right word, but closure? All I could do was pray. Pray he was right, that they wouldn't find us, and we would be able to escape. However, over here, there's a door, and stairs leading up. My hopes were shattered by the sound of voices from below. I could hear a faint clanking of armor. Our grips on each other tightened, and our trembling intensified. Fear swelled within the tower, making us its slaves. Giselle. We were both terrified. And who wouldn't be? Fairy tale heroes could be magically courageous in the face of overwhelming danger, but they weren't real. The fear of my impending death, drawing nearer and nearer with each passing moment, almost drove me to madness. I couldn't think clearly. My heart was having trouble keeping up. My head was a big, white mess. We were supposed to return to the capital, start a new life, finally obtain our happiness. It was right there at our fingertips. Enough happiness to make up for Michelle's 10 years of isolation, and enough to erase that nightmare from my memory forever. What had we done to have that taken away from us? This music's so intense right now, it's just going faster and faster. We just loved each other and wanted a quiet life together. Nothing outrageous. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. But what scared me the most was being separated from Michel. Hey, Michel, what are those people really doing here? What they're after is money or valuables. We can offer them everything in the mansion. We don't need any of it. If they don't want us to return to the capital, we can tell them we'll stay here. They might be willing to talk it over. I don't care if I lose everything else. As long as I have you, I can survive anywhere. All that mattered was that we had our lives, so long as the two of us still breathed. But death! Death to the unholy one! Death to the heretic! Death to the witch! Despair hung over us like the fog outside. There were no heretics, no witches, no unholy ones here. But they would probably never listen to us. The moment we stepped outside of this room, we would be dead, no matter what we said. This is when he's gonna be like, they want me, I will go, you stay here. Michel, I'm alright. It's okay, Michel. I'm not scared. You're here with me, after all. I'm fine. It's all fine. So please, hold me until it's all over. Please, stay with me. Finally, you speak. Michel? Oh, the witch. He wasn't looking at me, though. His unfocused eyes were directed upward, not toward any particular point, but wandering aimlessly. His purplish lips appeared to move, as though he was speaking, but no sound came out. Hey, Michel? Are you alright? Come back to me, Michel. I grabbed him by the shoulders and shook, but he didn't even seem to notice. No matter how many times I called to him, he didn't look down from the emptiness above. Michel! Giselle. Finally, after far too long, his gaze slid down to meet mine. He looked defeated, exhausted, and cornered all at once. I was scared too, but his fear seemed to have consumed him entirely. Please hear me out, Giselle. I never thought anything good would come of my life. I never thought I'd find anyone who truly understood me, who would be happy to have my love. And for that, I hated the world. I was in constant torment, living in the shadows. But then, a single ray of light shone down on me. Michel, you, Giselle, you've delivered me from the darkness. I'm scared, Giselle. I'm terrified. I used to think my life was meaningless, but it didn't matter if I lived or died. But now, I can't stop shaking. That's perfectly normal. I'm scared to death too, but what scares me most is losing you. Michel, I should have noticed his arms were tensing up, noticed, and stopped him. So please, allow me to repay you. I said I would do anything for you, so let me do this. I haven't given you anything. I haven't done anything for you. So give me one final chance. Yeah, he's sacrificing himself, obviously. Michel! What? What are you doing? Get back in here, Michel. What? Why? The door. I can't open it. Did you think about maybe what would happen after you die? Like, is she stuck in that room? I shoved on the door, trying to go after him, but it wouldn't budge even the slightest bit. Maybe he figures that the knights aren't going to kill her, they'll let her out. It was as though there'd never been a door at all, merely a wall disguised as one. It wasn't someone holding it shut from the other side, either. I pushed and I pulled with all my might, but I couldn't even manage to eke out the tiniest crack. Michel! Michel, what did you do to the door? Come on, get back in here. I don't want to lose you either. Say something, Michel. You're out there, aren't you? Please. Please don't do anything rash. They're going to kill you if you're out there. Giselle, the witch told me. What? That she would ensure your safety. Michel, she isn't real. There is no witch talking to you. It's all in your head. A figment of your imagination, created to alleviate your loneliness. Rest assured, she does not lie. Michel! Please listen. You are a wonderful woman, Giselle. Spirited, true to yourself, deeply sympathetic. You are not to blame for how difficult your life has been. Most of the fault lies with me. and a bit of bad fortune. But that's all behind you now. Once this is all over, you can start anew. What are you talking about? So, survive. Live a good, fulfilling life. Move past this. Live your life, and always love your family. I know you can do it. That is my wish for you. No, I don't want that. I want to be with you. No one else but you. I don't want to let you die. There he is. Or there it is. They're not going to say he. Death to the heretic. Death to the heretic. Death to the heretic. Get back in here, Michel. Open the door. My choice is to live on without you. I'd rather... Your scars will heal. You'll find a nice man and have a wonderful family. Why? Thank you, Giselle, for bringing light to my world. Don't say that, but if there is a next life, I hope you don't mind if I pray that we're able to meet again, and we can find each other once more in another world. And that's exactly what happened, is she's just been trying for so long. I wonder how they did, like, maybe his wish finally came true? And she was just never able to move past it. It's like she was just stuck in that mansion because she literally could not leave, because she... Whether it's the witch's curse or it's just her being trapped there by her emotions. Michel. Michel. It is our holy duty as knights of the church to deliver punishment onto the heathen who made a pact with the devil. Come on, Michel. Open the door. You are sentenced to death, your body to be hanged upon the cross for 3 days and 3 nights, wherein your unholy flesh shall be purified by the fires of heaven. Why? What are you doing here? Open the door, Michel, please. Listen to me. You can hear me out there, can't you? You shall now be executed. Do you have any final words? Who is it you're sentencing to death? Michel Bollinger? Or a demon child, naturally? Or a witch, perhaps? Please, open the door. Why won't you open it? He isn't unholy or impure. He's a perfectly normal human, and a very sweet man. Yes, I'm the witch. The witch isn't here. I'm the one you want to execute. Kill me. Execute me. Now I see, Giselle. This world. Kill him. Ugh. Ugh. Ah, so many blades pierced my flesh, a sword in my chest, lances in my arms and shoulders, arrows in both of my legs. I could hardly even tell what hurt anymore. There was an unpleasant hiss sound in the tower, almost like a heavy rain. It was the sound of my blood spilling onto the stone. Red. It was red, just like anyone else's blood. It didn't flow into unnatural patterns. It didn't turn into black, demonic shadows. It didn't cause anyone who touched it harm, and that's where Giselle told the story where it cursed all the people who killed him. It was just ordinary, red blood. Regardless, this body was probably still cursed. It had to be. I couldn't hear Giselle's voice anymore. I hoped she was safe and alive. I prayed that at least she would be protected, that the witch would keep her promise. It was getting dark. Light was quickly departing from my world. Darkness everlasting dragged me down into its pits. I believed in you. Michel? Michel! Hey, say something. Talk to me. Hey, what's going on? What's going on here? No, this can't be happening. An impossibly heavy thud came from beyond the door, and with it, Michel fell silent. Then intermittent squelching sounds as something slid down the door. No, this can't be. Why? Why? I pounded on the door with all my strength, but it still refused to give. The skin on my hands eventually going raw and beginning to seep blood. Why? Why should Michel have to be killed? Tell me, why? Take me with you. Please, don't leave me behind. That man isn't a witch. He isn't cursed. I'm cursed, not him. So don't hang him. Don't humiliate him like that. Kill me instead. Please. Again and again and again, I pounded on the door. But the self-described knights on the other side seemed to not even be aware of my presence. They seemed unable to hear my cries. Their armor clinking with each step, they began to descend the staircase, and with it, I could hear the sound of something being dragged slowly across the floor. Aw, they took the body. She won't even be able to see him. No, don't take him away. Stop, don't take Michel away from me. I'm begging you. But my pleas were in vain. My hope was for naught. The knights took him away, took him somewhere out of my reach, for all eternity. It's like, even though in her story, the story that she retold, even though he had died, at least she's like, well, she got to see his body at least. You know, the blood cursed all those that killed him, which is probably what she secretly wanted, is for everyone who killed him to die. Don't take him away from me. Michel. After much, much too long, the door swung open all on its own. It happened so unceremoniously, it was hard to believe I had actually been trapped inside. I had no idea how much time had passed, but the chill in the air suggested it was deep into the night, and with the biting cold, there was the stench of blood. Why? Why? Michel, I never wanted this. You didn't understand at all, Michel. You didn't know the depth of my feelings for you. You didn't know how intensely I wanted you, how fervently I loved you. I was never going to be able to find someone else and live happily with them. It had to be you. The thought of anyone else touching me terrified me. You just didn't understand. I don't want to live in this stupid world. The time I spent with you truly was the happiest time of my life. This is probably where she's gonna make a deal with the witch to be like, I want Michel back. And she has to just wait and wait and wait. I remember everything now. You died on that day. You were killed. You disappeared from this world and left me behind. That's right. I remember. I remember the pain, the agony of death, and the fear. I did indeed die that day. You refused to listen to me. Do you have any idea how it felt to feel you dying from the other side of that door? Giselle, I wanted you to take me with you. Well, they're back together now. I mean, he's like a spirit, but they can be together now, right? Is this what you so wanted to see? My memories, the traces of my life on this earth, end there. In order to find your truth, we need more of the story. Very well then. If you want more story, I will tell you more. What comes next is both a continuation and a brand new tale. The Maid's Tale. When you heard it all, I expect you to commend me for not forgetting how to smile. We haven't completely cut through the darkness yet. An Arctic wind blows past me. At the same time, I've gripped with an overwhelming urge to break down into tears. Perhaps this is the solitude she felt for so long. I have to face this. I have a responsibility to her to do so, and I have to atone for being such a misguided fool all those many years ago, convinced that I was doing what was best. Alright, this is The Maid's Tale, the sixth door. This is my tale, and the Maid's Tale. A tale of a foolish, naive girl. Looking back on it now, I'm ashamed of everything. But I will tell you my story in its entirety, without embellishments. I ask that you please not let go of my hand. I guess how she ended up becoming the maid, right? Because she went from Giselle to just the maid. The only thing the knights left behind were a garment and a large pool of your blood. Blood had seeped into the fabric and it was beginning to dry. When I clenched it in my hand, it made soft crackling noises. The oppressive stench of death lingered in the tower. Michel, there's no point in a life without you. You know that, right? Have a wonderful family? You know I can't do that. Hey, Michel, answer me. Come back to me. I don't care if it's as a ghost. I just need you here with me. Come back to me. Talk to me about nothing and about everything. Be irritated with me when I do something stupid. Scoff at me whenever I tell a bad joke. Trounce me at chess again. Put your arms around me one more time. Come on, I'm begging you. If you won't come back to me, then I'll go to you. She's gonna attempt to jump out of that window, isn't she? I don't care if that's not what you wanted for me. This world without you is meaningless. And this is Morgana, I'm assuming. Dying won't guarantee you get to see him again. It's a butterfly. What is it with the witches and butterflies, man? He spends all this time refusing to talk to me, and when he finally does, he begs me to save his love. Oh shit! Oh shit, it was the person who he was in love with, was the supposed witch. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Rather disappointing, to be honest. Who are you? Where are you? Hee hee, quite daft, aren't you? Within these walls, I am everywhere, and you've heard of me before. What? I have no... Heavens, you are slow. Is that pretty head of yours only for decoration? What? But no, there's no one else. You might be thicker than these walls, my dear. Although, I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. You never did believe anything Michel said about me. You thought he was going mad. This is brilliant. No, there's no way. It can't be. The cursed witch? Morgana? Oh, you even know my name, do you? It would appear my legend has survived longer than I expected. I suppose I should thank all the humans who passed it down for me. You actually exist? I most certainly do, my dear. As I recall, you don't believe in the supernatural, do you? But it's hard to deny when that very witch is talking to you right this moment. Michel was not even slightly mad, my dear. I told him he was better off without his sanity, but he refused to listen. He wasn't deranged. His surroundings were. His environment, the people around him, his whole world. You imagine how dreadful that must have been? To be the only sane resident in a world gone utterly mad? It's a miracle he managed to keep his head. Remember what he said just before he died, my dear? You said it was all in his head. You said he couldn't tell the difference between illusion and reality. You said he had long since gone insane. Shouted it at the top of your lungs. No, that's not what I meant. Poor Michel. If only you had believed him about the witch. I feel bad for you too, though. You have my pity. What did you ever do to deserve this? Oh, and just to be perfectly clear, I played no part in either your or Michel's misfortune. The only force to blame for that is fate. You were a good, honest, joyful, lovable woman, and look at how the world treated you. Hee hee hee. May I ask you something? Was it you who sealed me in the tower? Yes, it was. That was what Michel wanted. Once I told him I would grant his wish, so I did as he asked. Though it looks like that ended up costing you even more pain. How tragic. So, you're planning to die? Are you hoping to reunite with him in heaven? That plan's destined to fail from the outset, my dear. God teaches that suicide is a sin, and you'll go to hell for it. Then, I will not kill you. Why not? Because I swore to Michel I would save your life. Hee hee. Poor Giselle. If you have any other wish, I'll be happy to grant it. I can't bear to see you so miserable. That's the whole thing, right? Like, you accept the deal with the witch, but it's gonna cost you. A wish. You have but a single desire right now, to see him once more. Isn't that right, Giselle? Are you saying you can make that happen? You'll bring him back to life for me? The forces of life and death are outside of my realm. That is God's territory, or the angels. However, I can guarantee you this. His reincarnation. No, his reconstruction. His reconstruction? Oh shit, reconstruction instead of reincarnation. All those times the white-haired girl was there, was that Michel? Because, like, they look very similar. So it's like, all these times, she came back, or he came back to her, but in a different way, and maybe Giselle had a feeling, but wasn't sure. Because you could see, like, every time the maid just kind of latched on to the white-haired girl and was, like, kind of just, like, very interested in her. So maybe... But the maid didn't remember, right? Did the maid, Giselle lost her memories of all that stuff. So maybe she had, like, an inkling being like, that person looks kind of familiar. That's somebody who's important, but I don't know who it is. Yes, you can meet him again. Not in this life, but in some future life. And that's why the white-haired girl was always drawn to the mansion. That's probably Michel. But not Michel. Just imagine it. Finding your beloved again after overcoming so much tragedy. 10, 20, maybe 100 long years from now. You're finally reunited. And that's the witch's thing, was like she maybe made Giselle and Michel both lose their memories of each other. So like, technically they were reunited, but they didn't know it. Doesn't that sound marvelous? True, unparalleled love in its purest form. What do you think? Just because you can bring his soul back doesn't make it Michel. I want to be with him, that brusque, impenetrable, slightly immature, but gentle as a butterfly man. The man who sincerely, deeply loved me. If it's the same soul in a different body, how can you still call him my Michel? Hee hee, ha ha ha. My apologies. You beat me to the punchline, and you did so with such ardor you threw me off balance. You're exactly right. The idea that if your love is strong enough, you can both be reborn and have exactly the same relationship is utter fairy tale nonsense. You must be the same people to have the same love, which is why I am not promising his rebirth or reincarnation, but his reconstruction. That's totally it. That's totally it. Oh my gosh. This is wild. Now everything, all the previous doors, if you look at it from that perspective, your wish can become reality, Giselle. As long as you wish for it with all your heart, it can come true. I'll wish for his reconstruction as well. You have a witch asking to make this happen, my dear, so you can be confident it will bear fruit. That sounds like the witch of certainty. And you wish for him to remain as himself. If he truly loves you, and he too wishes to reunite with you, your wish shall be granted. Will you really wish with me? And that was the thing where she said, like, he'll appear as himself if his love is strong enough. Not to doubt Michel's love, but it's just like if he just straight up forgot about her. I most certainly will, my poor, pitiful, dear Giselle. I shall offer up my most heartfelt prayers for you. I'll wish for it. Until the moment of my death, I'll keep wishing for us to be reunited as the same people. I can't guarantee your reconstruction, though. What? I only said I guaranteed his. Michel's is the only reconstruction I will wish for. I will not ask for yours. Why not? You're not looking at a benevolent wish-granting goddess or an angel with a magic bow and arrow. You're looking at a cursed witch. This is why she became the maid? Who lost her memories and, like, doesn't remember Michel? Then how am I to be with him again? I can offer you but one option that will allow you to reunite with your reconstructed Michel. Tell me, what do I have to do? You must live here with me, and that's why she has to stay in the mansion. Live with you? What do you mean? It was Michel who resurrected me, but he could not serve as my guide. I have work to do, but I cannot do it alone. I need a guide to assist me. Because as you can see, I have no body. If this house did not exist in this world, then perhaps I might be able to give myself form. My soul's form. Okay, if the house is preventing... I'm like Giselle, I'm like, what? I don't understand anything you're saying. You don't need to understand. All I need from you is for you to show your utmost hospitality to the people I'm expecting to show up at this mansion someday. Entertain your guests? That's right, my dear. Michel isn't the only one whose reconstruction I'm wishing for. There are others. Ooh, several heinous sinners. So all the people who were at the mansion who showed up are sinners, apparently. Okay. So I want you to serve as a maid and watch over them when they arrive. And until then, keep the house in good condition. What? What are you scheming? Is that something you truly need to know, my dear? All you need to do is wish. Pray for the day your beloved appears before you again. For the day he wraps his arms around you once more. One word, Giselle. That's all I require. Do you want to see him again? Do you want to hear his voice again? I can promise you, you'll have your happiness back. What reason is there to hesitate? There isn't one. Or are you simply going to give up? I wonder, what would happen if you said no? If you disappear from this world? How will Michel react when he comes back? Will he be sad? Angry? Or will he forget about you? And fall into the arms of another woman? No, he can't. Then make up your mind. Will you come with me? Or will you throw it all away? I... If I'd given it a little thought, I would have realized she was manipulating me. That she was just telling me what I wanted to hear. But I believed her. I accepted her proposition. As unbelievable as it sounded, my desire for it to be real overpowered everything. It was impossible not to grasp at the straw she was dangling in front of me. That was all I could do at the time. The witch's voice also had an inexplicable power to it. It made me believe, as outrageous as it was, that she really could bring you back, reconstruct you. Maybe because I had seen her turn a door into an immovable wall, or maybe because I had heard her disembodied voice. But I don't think those are enough to explain it. My guess is, she had me under her spell. That was the moment I became the maid. But I assure you, I was at that point, still the same Giselle you knew and loved. The sound of the rain never seems to stop. Am I hallucinating it, maybe? From the moment I lent my ear to the witch's sweet temptations, the mansion underwent an unimaginable transformation. No light shone through the windows despite them still being unobstructed, not morning, day, or evening. In fact, the concepts of morning, day, and evening did not seem to exist. Darkness resembled that of when the windows had all been sealed off, but there was something more fundamentally unreal about it. Like it was hovering over a vast, all-consuming abyss within a constant haze of malice. It felt like I had been cast into some unknown realm, and that was why there was nothing beyond the windows. And the house was not the only thing that underwent changes. I, too, was no exception. In the blink of an eye, all my basic human urges vanished. I stopped feeling hungry, and I no longer needed sleep. Naturally, I was bewildered by what was happening to me, what I was turning into. I think I'll take a look around. Maybe there had been other changes. Ooh, can I take control now? Maybe not. So I meandered through the mansion's halls. My original intent was to explore the entire house, but I found myself drawn toward one room in particular. That's right, your bedchamber. There was no light, not a trace of color remaining in your chambers. But the bed was the same shape, the walls the same texture, the curtains the same design as when you had been alive. Michel, I'm praying, I'm always praying, that someday we'll meet again. Oh, there's something hidden under the bed. What could it be? It's that painting. Ah, shit, the painting. Okay. But here's the thing. Okay, so the white hair... So I said, like, he appeared as... That's my guess, anyways. Like, in all those times that the white hair girl showed up, that was Michel, like, reconstructed. to appear as someone else so that Giselle would not know who that was and not realize that's Michel. There's obviously the connection there, but this painting was before Michel died. I never did get to ask why he got so angry about me seeing this. I'm sure it's something he didn't want to be reminded of. Perhaps having to do with his family. I know his mother said something about a daughter. Like, did he have, like, he had maybe a sister who looked like that, and, like, he got reconstructed looking like his sister? I was right, not pressing him about it. Oh. Oh, creepy. What? What the? Did the painting just smirk at me? Oh god. Ah. Oh, hold on. Another thought is, because he kept going on about his body being cursed, and, like, he was cursed from the day he was born. Oh my gosh, I wonder if maybe... Okay, I don't even know if this is possible, because, like, this is back in the Middle Ages. You can't really have, like, reconstructive surgery or anything. But what if Michel was born as a woman, as a girl, and then, like, decide, like, from, like, growing up was like, wait, I don't feel comfortable, like, I'm not a girl, I'm a man. Oh shit, and then if that's the case, so maybe that's why the mother was like, you are... That everybody says, like, you're a heretic, you're a demon, you're a witch, is maybe that, and that's why maybe he got sent away, is because, like, the mother couldn't handle it. Instead, the whole thing about, like, the daughter is maybe she was upset because she's like, I lost my daughter. But maybe she didn't, like, literally lose a daughter, but just, like, lost the daughter because, like, Michel was like, I'm not a girl, I'm a boy. Holy fuck, if that's the case, that's wild. Okay, so we could go two different ways here, or it could be, like, a completely different thing that I haven't even covered yet, but... So, like, maybe either he had a sister, and he's been reconstructed as the sister in the future doors, or, holy shit, if that's the case, that Michel was actually a girl, but he... Just the body and everything, I'm like, it doesn't seem like that matches, because he definitely has, like, a very broad... They talk about how, like, he's skinny and stuff, but, like, you look at him and, like, that looks like a man to me. I don't know. Okay. Well, let's just continue. That's wild, though. If that could be, like, a potential thing. Oh geez, Giselle. What are you doing tripping over yourself? It was just that accursed witch messing with your head. No need to get spooked over a tasteless prank. When I stumbled, I guess I knocked a drawer open. Yes, please, let's do some investigative searching here. Let's see if we can find more clues about what's the truth about Michel. Because, like, all the stuff he was talking about, like, my body is cursed, I'm cursed, I mean, like, especially in the Middle Ages, I could definitely see that if someone has, like, body dysmorphia, or they believe that they are, like, a different gender, that is definitely something that I could see people thinking that they're a heretic, or, like, you know, basically sending them away and thinking that they're cursed. Like, holy crap, that's wild. That's... There's something inside. Letters, it looks like. I shouldn't touch these. They're not mine. He's not here, girl! Read those letters, please. But I want something of Michel's to have. Something to remember him by. His letters would be in his handwriting. They would contain his words. Please forgive me, Michel. I don't mean you any ill will, but I'm going to take these. I must say, there are an impressive number of... Oh! What the? What on earth? It's like someone dumped an inkwell on every page. But why? And the witch doesn't want her reading them, because it's probably going to unlock the mysteries. Was this the witch's doing too? Yeah, it has to be. It must have been her. Or maybe Michel did that himself because he didn't want to see the letters. But then why would he keep them? It definitely wasn't you, Michel, was it? Or maybe once he started getting close to Giselle, he thought that maybe she might snoop through his stuff, so maybe he purposely, like, desecrated the letters so that she couldn't read them. But once again, like, at that point, just throw them away. The front door. I wonder what it's like outside. Ugh, I can't get it open. What's going on? The bar isn't set, but it won't budge an inch. It's just like up in the tower. I know, the windows. They should open, then I can... What's going on? What the heck is going on? It's like there's an invisible wall in front of the window. My hand won't go any farther. Ah, this is rich. What else can I do but laugh? What in the world? This is madness. Ugh, hurry up, Michel. Return to me, and get me out of here. Please, get me out of here. I had no idea how to explain anything that had happened to the mansion, but it was clear enough that I was imprisoned within its walls. I was all alone in a nebulous sphere of bleak darkness, and beyond its walls lay void. The layout of the house remained unchanged, but I felt as though I'd wandered into a twisting labyrinth. I could cry, but there was no one there to soothe me. All it did was provoke her disembodied cackling, which she followed with, "You chose this, my dear, so you need to hold yourself together and keep wishing." My only real pastime was cleaning. I dusted the same corners again and again, swept the same floors, polished the same dishes. One day I decided I would read the books left in the library. Despite there being more than 100 volumes, I finished every one of them in what felt like no time at all. My life was a never-ending cycle. Day in and day out, day in and day out. House had no visitors. No one, rather, nothing at all set foot upon the property. There were no signs of other life whatsoever there. No birds singing in the morning, no cats sunbathing in the garden. Now, let me think back to the doors. Holy crap, when was the first, or I should say, like, when was the oldest door other than this one? She was waiting a long time for someone to show up. Unless there's some other stories that I don't know about. No mice scurrying about the kitchen, no creepy crawly insects. There was nothing. Nothing at all. The only thing that broke the long stretches of silence was her voice. Tell me, was she kind to you? Was she friendly and courteous? Because she was quite harsh when she spoke to me. These were the kinds of things she was always saying to me. He didn't show up today, did he, my dear? Are you still praying, my dear? Do you think he'll actually come, my dear? I'm still wishing, just like I promised, my dear. You know why he hasn't come for you, my dear. Because perhaps he doesn't actually love you as much as you thought. My dear, my dear, my dear. Have you lost your mind yet? Shut up! I've had enough. I'm done with you. Ha ha! Enough. Please, enough already. Oh, what's got you so worked up? You love to talk, don't you? So why not have a little chat with me? This is not a chat. Maybe not in your mind, my dear. You seem to think chatting only constitutes conversations you enjoy. But I don't think the word's usage needs to be so restricted, personally. You're just getting off on watching me squirm. Oh, not at all. You'll have all my best wishes, if he ever does show up for you. Ooh, so scary. You're making that face when he shows up. He might not even recognize you. What? You haven't looked in a mirror recently, have you? Go on then, my dear. See just how frightful you've become. No, the witch was right. I looked nightmarish. My face was pale and lifeless, my eyes hollow, my cheeks sunken, heavy bags beneath my eyes. My hair had lost its sheen, and it grew wildly. I was quickly losing everything that made me recognizable as me, and the thought sent a shiver down my spine. No, this isn't me. This is some kind of trick. You're trying to deceive me. Baseless accusations. You really must stop blaming people every time something doesn't turn out the way you want, my dear. But my face was more what? More expressive, more cheerful, brighter, rosier. You're right, you were never this gloomy, were you? Right, I wasn't. I was always more cheerful than this. Naive girl, could you be any more narcissistic? Huh? And the way that, like, now that I'm thinking, like, the way that Giselle talked as the maid, like, maybe she just lost herself. But the way she talked two people kind of reminds me of the way that the witch is talking. And I think the maid, did she even use the, like, she said my dear a lot. Maybe she just kind of like picked up on it from the witch. What you're looking at is undeniably exactly what you look like now. Time did not do that to you, nor did I. The negative energy oozing from within you is what's causing you to take on this form. Did you think you didn't have any dark, ugly emotions inside you? Did you believe you would always be able to smile, no matter what? Did you assume you were pure and beautiful? No one like that exists, my dear. What you see in the mirror is the true you, your hideous, twisted heart. If you weren't always being so nasty, this would have never happened. Anyone's heart would be twisted listening to you long enough. So you're saying Michel's heart was twisted too? I spoke to him for years. No, I'm just teasing. I suppose I may have crossed the line there. I mean you no ill will, Giselle. Honest. Allow me to give you one word of advice, though. Look at yourself in the mirror often. You continue deteriorating at this rate and end up looking like a corpse. When Michel comes to see you, he won't jump for joy, but run away screaming in terror. Stop talking. Please, just stop. You know, Giselle, this is only the very beginning. He might not show up for hundreds of years. I can't live that long. Absolutely brilliant. You still think you're alive? What? The moment you agreed to come with me, you ceased to be of this world. So don't worry about time, my dear. You can wait as long as it takes. As long as it takes for him to arrive. Now I'm thinking like the Giselle that we saw in like either the witch took pity and was just like, alright, I'll have it so that you don't age. Or maybe the witch took on the role of Giselle as the maid in the houses, because the way the witch speaks to me sounds very similar to the way that like the maid spoke. As the witch had suggested, I started checking my appearance in the mirror every day. I wanted to ensure I didn't turn into some horrific creature. My hair grew, so time seemed to be passing. But I didn't appear to age at all. Okay, never mind. The flow of time had become perplexingly vague and uncertain. Was it stopped? Or was it moving? I couldn't tell. On occasion, I would practice smiling in front of the mirror. My smile was, after all, my one really distinctive feature, and I was certain you had seen me smiling more than anything. Even if my appearance had changed drastically, I thought, you would still be able to recognize me by my smile. A woman standing alone in front of a mirror, practicing how to smile. I'm sure it was quite the comical sight. And that was about how my days went for an incomprehensibly long time. Oh, wow, okay. Dang. Yeah, it was a long time. You gotta think, like, she was here up until, like, at least the 1800s. That's wild. And felt every moment of it. For the first 100 years, I kept track of how much time had passed. An hour, a day, a month, a year, 10 years, 50. But once it had surpassed a person's average lifespan, the counting started driving me mad, and so I stopped. My sense of time began to numb. In place of sleep, I spent my days in a trance-like state. Doing so, I was less aware of the passage of time, which made it a little easier to bear. Suspended in this bubble of time, my mind went out to you. The next thing I lost a sense of was myself. I lived as a human for 21 years. After spending nearly 10 times that trapped in the mansion, I began to feel like that was all I had ever been. That maybe my past was all a construction of my imagination. That, as an otherworldly being, I merely fantasized about being human. Had I actually had a family? Had there actually been other people in the world? Did cities and villages really exist? Was there ever really a time when light shone through the windows, when we were happy? But I knew if I started doubting everything, I wouldn't be able to maintain myself, so I settled on believing one thing, that you, Michel, were real, that you had been with me, that I had loved you, and that it was you I was waiting for. I tried to always remember that one fact. My characteristic energy and cheer were disappearing. By then, I hardly ever raised my voice anymore. And in response to that change, the witch seemed to treat me a little nicer. On occasion, I thought I could sense her presence nearby, like she might reveal her form to me from beyond the darkness instead of only speaking to me. I could feel her sitting beside me. Giselle, do you think you're still Giselle, even now? Hee, I suppose it doesn't matter either way. Sometimes I think love and fanaticism are two sides of the same coin. Or fanaticism. What are you implying? Oh, nothing. I have an idea, though. Why don't we make you some new clothes, my dear? The loom should still work, thanks to you keeping everything in order. That outfit's an artifact of an age long past by now. You know how long it's been? Vaguely, but yes. As we speak, time still marches onward. Not too quickly, and not too slowly, but at the same pace as you're breathing. Now, on your feet, Giselle. We have plenty of time, so let's make you the perfect maid's outfit, and this is how the maid was born. And if we don't have enough materials, we can make more thread from the sheets or curtains. How exciting. Following her instructions, I wove garments in a style that did not exist in my era. They were quite strange to behold. The old me might have been stricken with fascination by them, but at that point, I wasn't even sure how to rejoice. Yeah, that must be strange for her, like, to never be able to go outside of the mansion and have, like, all of these hundreds of years pass, and then whenever new people show up, they're all in different fashions, and she's not even aware of, like, what society is and, all that stuff. It must be so strange. How to be impressed or how to be moved anymore. Sounds like rain again. Hiss, 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 hiss. What year is it? Hiss, hiss. Well, 1500. We should be coming up soon to at least the first door. Well, yeah, technically the first door that we saw, which was... Well, I'm trying to think. Well, there was the whole thing about the merchants. I'm trying to remember what year that was, because the year with Mel and Nell, that was sometime in the... Oh gosh, I can't remember. Like the 1900s is when it's like, so there's Mel and Nellie, and then we have Jacobo, and then there's the merchants at some point. So, like, I imagine she should start getting people soon coming to the mansion. Oh, it doesn't matter what year it is. It doesn't matter where it is. As long as you're there, it can be any time, anywhere. And we know the house, like, seems to change where it is based on clues throughout the story. Like, there's one time where it's like in somewhere in like Europe, with like Mel and Nell. So that's an interesting thing too, is like it's like the different times, but also like the mansion seems to be in different locations. Where are you, Michelle? What are you doing? I'm still praying. I'm still wishing for you to appear before me. Forever and ever and ever. And ever and ever and ever. I've been praying for so long. I don't even know how long it's been. Before you left, you said you were going to pray too. You said you hoped we could meet again in another life. I'm not misremembering, am I? Michelle, come back to me soon. I love you so, so very much. But my memories of you are starting to fade. What did your voice sound like? What kind of faces did you make? Where did you like to put your hands on me? I don't want to forget. I want to always remember. My memories of you are the only thing holding me together, but they're slipping away from me. How did you speak? What kinds of things did you talk about? I'm losing all these memories. Please, Michelle, come back to me, before I forget everything. My beloved master. The thought crossed my mind that maybe Morgana's guarantee that you would be reconstructed was just a lie to trick me into staying here. But I quickly discarded it. Because if she had been lying, it would strip all meaning from my very existence. It would take from me my purpose for being here. So I didn't want to accept that possibility. I had no choice but to persevere in my belief that you would return. I had always thought I'd be all right, that my faith would never waver. I still believed in myself. But you can be the happiest, most optimistic, resolute person in the world, and you'll still break eventually. And I was at the point where even the slightest tap would shatter me into fragments. Alright guys, that will do it for this episode, and yeah, I mean, we knew it wasn't going to end well, at least for now. It was going to end in tragedy, and to see the true way that things wrapped up, pretty upsetting, and, like, now we know the truth behind, well, at least it's implied that Michel's death was done. I'm assuming maybe his family was the one who sent those knights to kill him, whether the mother found out that, well, I assume the mother knew that he was alive because he sent a letter to his mother to ask about Giselle. But for whatever reason, whether it was his family or somebody else who sent, you know, these knights after Michel to kill him, what's the reason for that? Why now? You know, was it because I'm assuming he sent the letter saying that he was coming back to the capital, coming back home, and they didn't want him there? They wanted to have him still be basically banished, and they saw this as the last resort. I don't know. And we have Giselle making that deal with the witch that, you know, Michel would come back to her. The way that it was phrased as a reconstruction, that makes me think that the white hair girl, especially like you look at the main screen here, like you've got Giselle, the white hair girl, that hand above, the white hair above, I assume that's Michel. So that's what I'm assuming is like Michel comes back as the white hair girl, the previous, but like did Giselle assume that that was Michel? It'll be interesting as we see the time ticking by. Eventually we will see Giselle meet up with the white hair girl again, and maybe to see from Giselle's point of view of how she interprets that, like how if she believes that the white hair girl is Michel, because we only ever saw it from the white hair girl's perspective, and Giselle was like, or the maid was this mysterious person who seemed a little detached. So now we'll see it from the other point of view. But yeah, the story is just moving right along, and I am just so excited to see what happens next. So thank you guys so much for watching. Apologies for it being a little bit of a shorter episode this week. I'll have a little strap for time, so hopefully next week I will be able to play a little bit longer. But yeah, hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned next week for part 13. Until then, bye. Special shoutouts to my top tier patrons: Nana, Kaori Makoto, Revealing Storm, Tequila Mockingbird, Jared Fan, Izzy Ibo, Asborn Kennedy, Harry Gazif, Icognito, Locus Corollas, Mad Goldsmith, Wu Sing Chrysalis, and Lumi Arclight.